Kickbutt Metabolism: A Truth About Permanent Fat Loss. By David Castle. Eat for a Ripped Body. http://burnedfat.improvemetabolism.com/ This report is not for sale and may not be resold. This is a free report and may be freely distributed or shared, provided none of the information or links are changed. ImproveMetabolism.com. Introduction: Lies, BS and information overload. You are reading this ebook because you are experiencing one or more of the following problems. Interpuncture: gaining weight easily despite dieting or exercising. Interpuncture: weight loss has slowed. Interpuncture: are ashamed of wearing certain clothes because of unsightly fat. Interpuncture: want to improve your body composition. Interpuncture: diet has left you feeling starved. Interpuncture: weight is causing a lack of energy. Interpuncture: weight is affecting your cardiovascular health. Frankly, it is not surprising that you and millions of others are experiencing these problems, despite efforts to correct them. Why? Because when it comes to fat loss, you have been sold lies, half-truths and confusion by the media. Here are a few examples. Interpuncture lip balm that contains chromium and claims to shed pounds. Interpuncture nail belt that promises to give you a six-pack. Interpuncture celebrity-endorsed supplements that are worthless for fat loss. Interpuncture conflicting advice about diets. Zoned diets, Atkins, liquid diets. Where do you begin? Interpuncture diets that promises rapid weight loss and a bodybuilder's physique in a few weeks. Are you as tired of the BS, hype and information overload as I am? The weight loss industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry with endless marketers, gurus and big businesses involved. Unfortunately, many of these people have lied or twisted the truth about fat loss to further their bottom lines. The end result is that many dieters fail to lose any meaningful weight. And many of those who actually lose weight end up regaining it and then some. In this ebook, I give you the honest, straightforward truth about achieving a kickbutt metabolism, a major component in achieving sustained fat loss, more lean muscle mass and greater energy. Chapter 1: What Metabolism is. Your metabolism is a complex network of hormones and enzymes that converts food, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, into fuel and determines how effectively that fuel is burned. It is what happens when the nutrients released from the breakdown of foods get into the cells. That's when true nourishment of the body occurs, and it happens on a cellular level. Your metabolism does other things too, but what you need to know now is that ultimately, your metabolism determines how quickly you gain or lose weight. Now, looking at this definition, you might think that you have no control of your metabolism since it runs automatically 24/7. The good news is that barring certain situations such as having a poorly functioning thyroid or taking certain medications, factors that can adversely affect your metabolism, you can indeed crank up your metabolism. Factors that affect metabolism. 1. The thyroid gland, producing thyroid hormones. 2. The adrenal gland, producing adrenal hormones. 3. Digestive system health. 4. Use of caffeine. 5. Use of alcohol. 6. Use of drugs, prescription and non-prescription. 7. Amount of sleep. 8. Immune system status and presence of an infection. 9. Attitude. 10. Toxic load of the body. 11. The water content of the body. 12. The oxygen content of the body. 13. The muscle mass content in the body. 14. The fat content of the body. 15. Your body frame size, small, medium, or large. 16. Your height and weight. 17. The hormone insulin and glucagon. 18. Growth hormone levels. 19. Exercise and activity levels. 20. Food that you eat. 21. Vitamin and mineral status. 22. Number of times food is eaten during the day. 23. Crash dieting. For the purposes of this ebook, I'll focus on the 4 major problem areas that are most likely to affect people's metabolism: stress, sleep, diet and exercise. Chapter 2: Stress can give you fat belly. Your metabolism functions best when your body is in homeostasis, internal stability. But during times of stress and survival situations, your metabolism shifts to a different setting. The changes in metabolism during stress are essential to your survival. However, if these changes are maintained for a prolonged period of time, your metabolism can be negatively affected. In times when you are stressed, adrenal gland hormones are produced in high amounts. The stress could be anything: stress from a family situation, stress in rush hour traffic, or stress from financial pressure. All stress has the same physiological effect on the body. These high levels of adrenal hormones cause shifts in your body. Your memory functions are enhanced. You have a lowered sensitivity to pain. You feel a burst of energy. And your immune system gets a supercharge of energy. These are good changes in certain situations, but only if they are short-lived. The longer that your stress hormone, cortisol, level is high, the more damaging it is to your health and the more fat your body could end up storing. Excess cortisol secretion can suppress thyroid function, increase abdominal fat, raise blood pressure, lower immunity, promote higher blood sugar levels, and decrease your bone density and muscle mass. Speaking of muscle, it is a very critical factor in fat burning. Muscle is a metabolically active tissue. In other words, muscle burns calories, and it burns more calories than fat does. The last thing you want is a situation where you are losing muscle mass. I'll talk more about the important role of muscle mass in later chapters. Tip: pay attention to your stress levels. Do activities that help to relax and distress you. Chapter 3, Late nights wreck your metabolism. Proper sleep, perhaps the most ignored aspect of fat loss. Inadequate sleep wrecks your metabolism. If you don't get at least 6 hours of sleep, which is equivalent to 4 complete rapid eye movement (REM) cycles, then homeostasis does not rule your nervous system and stress results. This shifts your metabolism pathways to ones that store fat. As you already know, long periods of stress, such as what happens when you are not sleeping well, could interfere with your body's composition by increasing fat and decreasing muscle. And this in turn causes a sluggish metabolism. Sleep deprivation also interferes with hormones such as ghrelin and leptin, which are essential to the control of appetite. Sleep deprivation increases inflammation in the body, which in turn increases the risks of getting a whole host of illnesses. Research has shown that people who are sleep deprived are at higher cardiac risk and also more likely to get certain forms of cancer. How much sleep should you get? 7-8 hours of deep uninterrupted sleep is ideal. Sleeping more than that regularly is likely to slow down your metabolism. Whoever said sleep is overrated probably died prematurely. If you have a problem falling asleep, you can take a safe non-addictive sleep aid or consult your physician. However, be very wary of some of the sleep aids that are pushed by big pharmaceutical companies. These can cause some harmful side effects. Tip: drinking alcoholic beverages may make you sleepy at first, but overall it disrupts REM sleep. It is better to have a warm shower and drink a cup of hot milk to help you get your ZZZZZZZZZZZS. Chapter 4, The Golden Formula for Fat Loss. Before you start any diet, you need to know your baseline, that is, how many calories your body needs to maintain your current weight. From this reference point, you can know how many calories you need to cut and how many you need to burn from exercise. Your basal metabolic rate, also known as BMR or sometimes used interchangeably with the term rest metabolic rate RMR, is that baseline. Your BMR refers to the amount of calories that is needed when your body is at rest, in order to breathe, circulate blood, keep your muscles toned, keep the intestines moving, maintain your glandular activity and keep your body temperature where it should be, etc. Now here is a surprising fact. The more you weigh, the faster your metabolism is likely running. A large sumo wrestler that weighs 350 pounds has a higher BMR than a woman weighing 130 pounds. This is because his body has to work harder to carry around that extra weight. The formula to calculate BMR, both men and women, is 370 plus 21.6x lean body mass, LBM, in kg. So let us calculate the BMR for a 350 pounds sumo wrestler with 60% LBM. 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. Weight equals 350 pounds. LBM equals 0.6 times 350/2.2 equals 95.45 kilograms. BMR equals 370 plus 21.6 times 95.45 equals 2431.72 calories. So for the sumo guy to maintain his weight, he must consume 2431.72 calories daily. On the other hand, a 130 pounds woman with 70% LBM will need to consume 1263 calories daily to maintain her weight. Here is why knowing your BMR is important. In order to burn fat, you must consume less calories than your BMR. But the source of your calories will affect your metabolism to your advantage or to your demise. You can find out your BMR by running down to the local gym and having a personal fitness trainer calculate it with a handheld bioimpedance device. Or perhaps you could have your doctor tell you your LBM. You could then use that figure to calculate your BMR. My BMR is _date_. Tip: in case you do your own research, you'll find that there are various formulas for calculating BMR, each with its own pros and cons. There will be some variances in the figures, but don't be overly concerned with this. The key is to use your BMR as a logical starting point and then adjust your calorie intake each week based on how your body is responding to your diet and exercise plan. No need to calculate your BMR weekly. Later on down the road, when you have made significant progress in your fat loss or want to maintain your weight or seek to build muscle, you may recalculate your BMR. Chapter 5, Sabotaging Your Fat Loss Efforts. Let us expand on the idea of consuming less calories than your BMR. At one time, many dietitians were telling people that just by decreasing their calorie needs by 500 calories a day, 3,500 weekly, they could lose a pound a week. The premise of this diet was that a calorie is a calorie. It didn't matter where calories were cut, the important thing was that calories were cut. This kind of diet worked briefly, but it turned out not to be effective in the long run. Just as ineffective for fat loss was some people's embrace of vegetarianism in an effort to restrict their consumption of calories. They may have lost weight in the early stages of their diets but eventually regained it. Not surprisingly, many of them eventually gave up their vegetarian lifestyles. Why did these people fail? The reasons will be discussed in greater detail in chapters 6 and 7. Suffice it to say, calorie restriction is fundamental to fat loss. But when diets are based on severe calorie restriction or on the premise that all calories are equal, then there is a problem. Also know that adequate protein intake is a vital part in achieving a kickbutt metabolism and permanent fat loss. Cutting too much protein from your diet will sabotage your fat loss efforts. Well, what about the proteins in vegetables, you ask? Good question. There is still a debate as to whether or not people can get complete protein from plant-based foods. There are many in the health community who feel that plant-based foods can offer this. Just to make it clear, I am not for or against vegetarianism. But if you are a vegetarian, ensure that you are getting adequate amounts of protein. Tip: the used website says, vegetarian diets can meet all the recommendations for nutrients. The key is to consume a variety of foods and the right amount of foods to meet your calorie needs. Chapter 6, Eat Protein to Burn Fat. At this point, it is important to note of the following equation: total daily energy expenditure, TD, or total calories burned equals BMR plus thermic effective food, TEF, plus physical activity energy expenditure BA. Around 75% of the calories you consume goes to sustaining your BMR, and the F&P burns the other 25%. Your TD is known as your maintenance, that is, how many calories you expend each day to function on all levels. You have to breathe and you have to eat, but you also have to walk to the bathroom, take the bus to work, and hopefully, exercise. All of these activities require energy. If you want to lose fat, you must consume less calories than your TD. Some people, including vegetarians, take the route of embracing a low-protein diet in order to restrict their consumption of calories. There are two potential pitfalls with this diet. First, to fill the void in calories that results from consuming less protein, some people overcompensate by eating more refined carbs, foods that are high in calories. This is one reason why some vegetarians complain that they are not losing weight or losing very little. The second reason is that by significantly cutting the protein in our diets, we are affecting our body's ability to burn fat at the highest level. Protein is on one of the least efficient foods we eat, and this is a good thing. In protein, you are getting fewer calories with more volume. It actually costs your body calories to access the calories present in protein. This is great for fat loss. The process of your body accessing the calories from food is called thermogenesis, or the thermic effect of food, TEF. Thermogenesis is what happens in addition to your BMR. Lean protein has a thermic effect of around 30%. Therefore, if you consume 100 calories from lean protein, your body will burn around 30 calories just to digest it. Thus your net calorie intake would be 70. So essentially, it is harder for your body to store calories from protein. Fiber-containing complex carbs, such as beans, vegetables, whole grains, have a thermic effect of around 20%. On the other hand, fat and refined carbs have a thermic effect of just 3%, which is why dietary fat and sugary foods are so easily stored as body fat. So if you consume 100 calories from refined carbs, your net calorie intake will be 97. In one sense, the thermic effect of food refutes the idea that a calorie is a calorie. Sure, on a unit-by-unit basis, 1 calorie equals 1 calorie. But as you just saw, some calories are more easily assimilated into the body and are more likely to cause weight gain. Also bear in mind that some calories are empty. They offer little or no nutritional value but contribute greatly to weight gain. Protein has other benefits too. Eating protein sends the "I am full" signal faster to the brain and hence cuts off appetite faster. Protein takes longer to be emptied from the gut, making you feel full for longer periods and making you less likely to binge. Protein also supports muscle mass. Protein also slows down the absorption of sugar. This is why it is suggested that you should eat carbs and protein together. When you do so, rather than getting the famous sugar crash, you get a slower, more stable release of energy throughout your body. Because of the significant drop in calories that dieters on low-protein diets can experience, they often find themselves in a state of constant physiological and emotional hunger. When this happens, they tend to crave refined carbohydrates, which are foods high on the glycemic index. High glycemic foods tend to be foods that contains lots of sugar or high fructose corn syrup, HFCS. Consuming these foods will cause your insulin to spike and likely lead to unwanted weight gain and an increased risk of getting some very nasty illnesses. So, ensure you are getting adequate protein in your diet. The success of your fat loss regimen depends on it. Tip: researchers at the Denmark University of Copenhagen contend that a diet rich in lean meats, poultry and beans and low in starchy carbohydrates appear to be more ideal for weight loss. They also found that the dropout rate for subjects on this diet was less than that of other diets. The research was printed in the New England Journal of Medicine. Chapter 7, The Double-Edged Sword of Cutting Calories. It is the mantra for legions of dieters: cut calories and cut more calories. But whilst it is an indisputable fact that to lose fat you must consume less calories than you burn, the story doesn't end there. Cutting calories is a double-edged sword that must be handled with care. As a matter of fact, very low-calorie diets usually results in greater weight gain after the initial weight loss slows. Here is why. When you are heavy, your body's metabolism is already running a little faster. Because essentially, your body needs more energy to fuel itself. So when you first start to diet and cut calories, you tend to experience weight loss quicker. And so you think, great, I'll cut even more calories. But after a while, your body figures out what is going on and starts to slow down your metabolism to conserve fat for energy. This is work of your body's defense mechanism, which is only concerned with your body's survival. It doesn't care about your goal to look good in a swimsuit. Some of the other aspects of your body's defense mechanisms include: 1. Your cells release less leptin hormone. This hormone signals to your brain that you are full. Less of it means you end up eating more. 2. You lose muscle mass. Since muscle burns more calories than fat, your muscles need a lot of energy to keep them going. Your body tries to conserve on calories by cannibalizing on its own lean tissue. 3. Your body kicks your hypothalamus into high gear. Your hypothalamus is the appetite center of the brain. You become ravenous for food, especially carbs high in sugar. The end result of all this is that your weight loss slows considerably and your will to continue dieting falls flat. You also have less muscle mass than before, so now you look fatter. Add all of this to your slowing metabolism and your increasing appetite for carbs high in sugar, you start gaining weight and potentially end up heavier than before. Tips: 1. Avoid very low-calorie diets. In the long term, they make you fatter. 2. Get more exercise and overall try to live a more active lifestyle. Physical activity causes you to burn more calories even when your body is at rest. 3. Aim for a moderate decrease in your calorie intake. Moderate decreases should not cause such a severe triggering of your body's defense mechanism. 4. Eat adequate protein. It is essential for muscle building. Chapter 8, A New Way to Look at Food. Now that you know that a calorie is not a calorie and that the source of your calories is a very important consideration, you are going to have to look at the foods you eat in a new way. All foods are composed of unique mixtures of protein, fat and carbohydrates. Some foods are 100% protein foods. Some foods are 100% fat foods. Some foods are 100% carbohydrate foods. And others are a mixture of protein, fat and carbohydrates. I hope you will take some action into improving your sleeping habits and including more whole foods in your diet. These are crucial steps to improving your metabolism and accelerating your fat loss. A little later in this ebook, I'll talk about another critical step, exercise. But in this chapter, I want to impress upon you the new way you are going to have to start looking at your diet. The old way of eating anything in sight won't cut it. Since you are overweight, it is very important that you start analyzing the composition of your food. By altering the ratios of proteins, fats and carbohydrates in your meals, you can turn your body into a fat-burning machine. You see, food has one of two fates in metabolism: it either ends up causing the body's cells to store fat, or it causes the body's cells to break down fat. If you are reading this ebook in search of a kickbutt metabolism, then your metabolism is most likely leaning towards one that causes the body's cells to store fat instead of burning it. So how should you analyze food? Let me show you an example. These are fat foods: any oils, butter, any margarines, avocado, olives, chocolate, eggs, any and all nuts, dairy products made from whole milk, 2% milk, or 1% milk will contain fat. Butter, cream, and whipping cream, any products that contain any of the above-mentioned foods. These are protein foods: eggs, chicken, turkey, pork, lamb, beef, buffalo, bison, fish, any milk products including milk, yogurt, whey, cottage cheese, and kefir milk. All products that contain any of the above-mentioned foods. These are carbohydrate foods: rice, grains, pasta of any kind, starchy vegetables such as acorn, squash, peas, corn, beans, legumes, fruit. 41 Any milk products, sugar and any sweeteners with the exception of stevia and artificial sweeteners. Nuts like cashews, peanuts, chestnuts or ones that have been sugared. All products that contain any of the above-mentioned foods. This list will become the basis for how you make any food-related decisions in the process of creating a Kickbutt metabolism. It's very easy to make serious mistakes in food selection, and many people do this every day of their lives. That's one of the major reasons why we have such an epidemic of obesity, diabetes, heart disease and other chronic diseases. Did you notice on the lists that milk products were mentioned on every list? That's because, first of all, milk is a protein, but it also has quite a few carbohydrates in it. Milk can also have varying degrees of fat in it, based on how it has been processed. Did you notice that nuts are not listed on the protein list? Often, people think that nuts are a good source of protein. Take a look at the label for cashew nuts and decide if you think that cashews would be a good nut for you to create a Kickbutt metabolism. Nutritional composition for cashews: serving size 1 ounce, 28.3 g. Amount per serving: calories 156 calories from fat 112%. Daily value: total fat 12.4 g, 19% saturated fat 2.2 g, 11% polyunsaturated fat 2.2 g, monounsaturated fat 6.7 g, cholesterol 0 mg, 0% sodium 3 mg, 0% total carbohydrates 8.5 g, 3% dietary fiber 0.9 g, 4% sugars 1.7 g, protein 5.2 g. From the label, you will see that 1 ounce cashews will give you 5.2 grams protein. That's actually a hefty serving of protein compared to many packaged foods. However, 5 grams of protein from nuts is not equal to 5 grams protein from any of the foods listed in the protein category above. The foods on that list are complete proteins, which means that these proteins will give you all the amino acids required for life. You could subsist on foods from the protein list if you had to, without developing a protein deficiency. This isn't the case with the protein from nuts. Nut protein is missing at least one amino acid, which means that if you expect to get all your protein needs from nuts, you will eventually suffer from a protein deficiency. Did you also notice that 1 ounce cashews provided 12.4 grams fat and 8.5 grams carbohydrates? This tells you that nuts are actually a mixed food, containing a little protein, even though it's incomplete, and some carbohydrates. The main point here is that when you think of nuts, you should think of fat, not protein. And now you must also question how many nuts you consume, because the carbohydrates that are in them could throw off your metabolism. I'm not saying that nuts are not good foods. They are when used properly. All I am saying is that knowing what's in the foods you eat becomes one of your biggest ally in achieving fat loss. Next is a label for flax seeds. Some health food enthusiasts rave over flax seeds. Let's look at what they are raving about by reading the label. Nutritional composition for flax seeds: serving size 1 ounce, amount per serving 1 ounce, calories 52 calories from fat 37%, daily value total fat for g 6.3%, saturated fat 0.36 g, 1.75%. Polyunsaturated fat 2.78 g, monounsaturated fat 0.73 g, cholesterol 0 mg, 0% sodium 3 mg, 1% total carbohydrates 2.8 g, 1% dietary fiber 2.6 g, 10% sugars 0.15 g, protein 1.75 g. Again, you see that flax seeds are not 100% fat, protein or carbohydrate. They are a mixture. And like nuts, flax seeds should be considered primarily fat, and secondarily, a carbohydrate source. Forget the protein content, it's not good enough as a high-quality protein source. Now let's look at the composition of a large egg. Nutritional composition for eggs: serving size 1 egg, amount per serving, calories 71 calories from fat 45%, daily value total fat 5g, 8% saturated fat 2.0g, 8% trans fat 0.0g, cholesterol 211 mg, 70% sodium 70 mg, 3% total carbohydrates 0g, 0% dietary fiber 0g, 0% sugars 0g, protein 6.0g. Eggs are considered protein foods, but they also contain some fat. The good news is that they have no carbohydrates that you need to consider. However, for the purposes of a nutritional analysis of your diet, we're going to count them only as a protein food. The reason for this is that you will most likely not sit down and eat more than 2 eggs, 10 grams fat. Now let's look at the different types of milk products on the market and their composition. Serving size equals 1 cup, calories, total fat. Strictly speaking, when you read the term milk products, you should only be thinking milk, yogurt, buttermilk, kefir milk, cottage cheese, and cheese. Soy milk is not milk. Almond milk is not milk. Half and half is not milk. Heavy cream and cream cheese is not milk. Many people want to know why they cannot consider soy milk or rice milk as milk. The answer is simple. Just because it's white and looks similar to milk, this doesn't mean its nutritional content is anywhere near what milk's is. Take a minute and compare the soy milk nutrients to regular milk's nutrients. Regular milk generally contains around 8 grams protein, 12 grams carbohydrate, and anywhere from 2 to 8 grams fat. Soy milk, on the other hand, contains 11 grams protein, 13 grams carbohydrate and 4 grams fat. Well, that's more protein than in regular milk, you may say. It's gotta be good. Wrong. Soy milk, or rice milk, does not contain all the amino acids in the right combination to sustain life. And now, research studies have shown that when animals eat soy, their progeny eventually stops reproducing. Incomplete proteins in a food means we don't consider that food a good source of protein. That means soy is a carbohydrate. And that is important for you to know if you want a kickbutt metabolism. During your fat loss regimen, you should keep a journal of all the foods you eat. Write out their composition for fat, protein, carbohydrates, and calories. You will find nutritional information by looking at the back label of the package your food comes in, or by searching the net for nutritional information. A great place on the net to find the nutritional content of various foods is found at Calorie Count. Now it's time to look at what percentages of protein, fats and carbs your diet is comprised of. This will help you ascertain the likely effect of your diet on your body. Is your diet conducive to burning fat or fat storing? You first need to know how to convert grams of protein, fat and carbs to calories. This is very simple. 1 gram of protein is worth 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is worth 9 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates is worth 4 calories. Use the chart below to start your analysis. Here's an example of what your daily report could look like for breakfast. Please note that the number of calories in a food will vary across brands. Food, 1 day, SVG size, total eaten profit carb cal. Breakfast. Eggs, hard-boiled toast, whole wheat butter 1 tsp, orange juice 1 cup. Snack. Granola bar, apple. Lunch. Chicken on salad, chicken lettuce 2 cups, tomato 1 small, dressing to TBL, apple pie 1 slice, Diet Coke. Dinner, salmon steak, mashed potato 1 cup, green beans 1 cup, chocolate cake 1 slice. Percent protein intake equals 83.5 times 4/1866, x 100 equals 17.9%. Percent fat intake equals 72 times 9/1866, x 100 equals 34.7% carbohydrates equals 221 times 4/1866, x 100 equals 47.4%. This diet is a bit low on protein and low on fruits and veggies too. As you already know, protein is essential to fat loss. Veggies don't contain too many calories but are high in nutrients. It is very hard to overconsume vegetables. Tip. Dr. Andrew Weil, famous author and doctor, suggests that your diet should consist of about 40 to 50% from carbohydrates, including vegetables, fruit, whole grains, starchy roots and tubers, and legumes, 30% from fat, and 20 to 30% from protein, which amounts to between 100 and 150 grams on a 2,000 calorie a day diet. Chapter 9, The Best Exercises for Fat Burning. You won't create a kickbutt metabolism on diet alone. You must exercise as well. Here are some of the things exercise does. Increases circulation throughout the organs and tissues, and the extra blood feeds and nourishes the cells by bringing them nutrients. The added blood flow to organs is a good way to keep those organs, especially the heart, rejuvenated. Strengthens the heart and allows you to utilize oxygen optimally. Increases the production of endorphins, which are chemicals produced in the brain that make us feel happy. If you recall, attitude is one of the factors on the list that can affect metabolism. Tones your body, reduces fat and increases muscle mass. If you recall, the greater your lean body mass, the higher your metabolism is likely running. How to quantify your exercise. All exercise will increase blood flow in the body, but the faster you increase the blood flow, up to a certain point, the more you will increase your metabolism rate. That certain point is based on the target heart rate during exercise. This rate is calculated like this. Target heart rate equals 60% to 85% of your maximum heart rate. Maximum heart rate equals 220 minus your age. Look at the target heart rates of the following age groups. 20-year-old, 130-170 beats/minute. 30-year-old, 123-160 beats/minute. 40-year-old, 117-153 beats/minute. 50-year-old, 110-145 beats/minute. 60-year-old, 104-136 beats/minute. 70-year-old, 98 to 128 beats/minute. For people who are very out of shape, having your target heart be 55 to 75% of your maximum is a good start. If your heart rate is in this zone for a good portion of your exercises, you are on target to increase your metabolism and burn fat at a good rate. If your heart rate is too low, increase the intensity of your exercises to get your heart rate to the correct level. Why is this important? If you don't put out the minimum amount of power needed in your exercise to raise your heart rate to the desired zone, don't expect to lose much fat. On the other hand, if your heart rate is too high, you run the risk of overtraining, burning yourself out and injury. Overtraining can lead to increased appetite, which can lead to weight gain because people tend to overeat the wrong foods. Exercise increases your BMR. Now, here is something very important. Exercise increases your BMR in a way you might not expect. Many people think that after they stop exercising, they are not burning calories. But this is not the case. Depending on the type of exercise you do, your body can be burning calories, at rest, up to 36 hours after you exercise. Isn't this great? You could be taking a shower, watching TV, and your metabolism is burning extra calories. This is what you need to achieve great results in your fat loss. And this is what overweight people who go for walks need to know. Walking has gotten a lot of press lately as a way to lose fat. But just going for a stroll is not going to cut it. If you are walking in order to lose fat, you have to make it brisk. Better yet, Walk briskly up a hill or walk briskly up a hill wearing a backpack with some soup cans in it. The added weight will get your heart rate up and you will do more than just break a sweat. If you are older or pregnant, then you may not be able to walk briskly or walk up a hill. If this is the case, just walk normally for about 20 to 30 minutes to start. As the saying goes, the best exercise to do is the one you can do. Best exercises for fat burning. However, not all exercises are equal in terms of their fat burning capabilities. I have previously mentioned the limitations of walking and that if you expect to seriously lose fat and build lean muscle, walking is not up to scratch. Aerobics or cardio is another form of exercise that, far from being useless, is not the best for fat burning. Just have a look at some of TV's top proponents of aerobics. You'll see that even after years and years of aerobics, they are still chubby or have little muscle mass. The reasons they are chubby are likely to be a combination of inefficient exercises and poor eating habits. Let me explain. The body prefers fat for fuel when you do steady-state, low-intensity exercises such as cardio. Now you might think that is great, cardio burns fat. But wait. Not so fast. If all you are doing is low-intensity cardio, your body, being the remarkably adaptable machine it is, becomes more efficient at holding fat in order to make you more efficient at cardio exercises. Overall, you may lose fat but not as much as you'd like. Typically, don't expect to lose much fat doing only 20 minutes of low-intensity aerobics. To maximize fat loss from aerobics, you have to up the intensity and do 30-60 minutes about 3 times a week. Some people go to the extreme, and do frequent long-duration cardio, such those who do marathon running. Long-duration cardio triggers your body's defense mechanism, causes your body to feed on its own muscle. If you recall, it is the same thing that happens when you go on a very low-calorie diet. Again, what your body is doing is adapting to the situation by stripping down to its lowest mass in order to make you more efficient at long-distance running. This is why many marathon runners look as skinny and frail as they do. Sure, they are not fat, but they have little muscle mass. And the less muscle mass you have, the smaller engine you have to burn fat. Because remember, muscle burns fat. There is one very popular curly-haired proponent of aerobics that has been on TV a long time. He has lost weight, but even after years and years of aerobics, he still looks fat. Here is why I think he still looks fat. 1. It is likely that he has not added interval training or weight training to his routine. Therefore, he is not building muscle mass. Secondly, he probably is not getting enough calories or on a low-protein diet. As you know, protein is vital to building lean muscle. Apart from loss of muscle mass, research has also linked long-endurance cardio with a decrease in libido, major illnesses and shorter lifespan. So which type of exercise is the best for fat? Hands down, the single best exercises for fat loss is short-duration high-intensity burst exercises, also known as interval training. That is to say, you alternate between high-intensity and lower-intensity exercises or rest. Your body's hormones respond best to this type of exercise. High-intensity exercises increase growth hormones, promote muscle growth and reduces fat deposits. Just have a look at sprinters. They are built strong and have endurance. This is partly because they utilize high-intensity, short-burst exercises to build acceleration and speed. Consequently, their bodies produce more growth hormones, which contributes to lean muscle mass. During high-intensity exercises, your body burns more carbohydrates for energy, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. After you finish high-intensity exercises, your body switches to burning fat for fuel, sometimes for up to 36 hours afterward. Aerobics or cardio won't give you that duration of afterburn unless you are doing long-duration cardio such as running marathons. High-intensity training has other benefits too, such as it improves good cholesterol, sex drive, memory and bone density. resistance/weight training. First, let me tackle the myth that weight training is the best for losing fat. It is not. I can see why people believe this to be true, because when they look at bodybuilders, they see guys with massive muscles and very little body fat. But unless you are a genetic freak or on steroids, which many bodybuilders are on by the way, it is gonna take you about 6 months or more to add 5 to 10 pounds of muscle on your frame. Those 5 to 10 pounds will up your BMR by about 100 to 100 calories daily, which results in about 0.5 pounds extra per week in fat burning. Basically, this means that muscle gains help you burn more fat at rest. But muscle building is a slow way to burn fat. This is why you need to add interval training into the mix. For maximum fat burning, do cardio, weight training and interval training. Tip: if you are very unfit, you can start out doing about 70% cardio and 30% resistance training. As you get fitter, you can increase the amount of resistance training and interval training that you do. Chapter 10: The Dangers of Over-Exercising. In life, we always have to prevent extremes, don't we? When the weather is cold, we have to bundle up enough to stay warm. But if we put on too many clothes, we might feel too hot or find it difficult to move around. Similarly, extremes should be avoided when you do exercises. When you have dropped a lot of fat and more or less achieved your overall weight, you might be so enchanted with your new body that you start to overtrain. But recognize that not only is there no need to over-exercise, but you can actually end up damaging your body. That's because the process of exercising generates free radicals, and over-exercising produces even more. Free radicals are linked with faster aging, heart disease, inflammation, cancer and other degenerative diseases. Scientists figured this out in the 1980s when suddenly there were a lot of long-distance runners, supposedly in the best cardiovascular shape possible, were being diagnosed with incurable diseases like cancer. Scientists concluded from their tests that exercise caused an excess of free radicals, which in turn led to diseases. If these people had consumed enough antioxidants in their diets, vitamin A, E, C, D and K, they perhaps could have protected their bodies from free radical damage. This is one reason why it is essential to eat a balanced diet plus take a potent antioxidant supplement that quenches free radicals. Especially if you are exercising on a regular basis, getting adequate antioxidants is crucial. How do you determine if you are exercising too hard? There are a couple of things to look at. First, check your heart rate. If your heart rate is racing in the morning before you get out of bed, you're exercising too hard. If your heart rate is 10 beats/minute higher than your usual resting pulse, it could mean that you are exercising too hard. When you see that your heart rate is 5 beats too high, do something to slow down your exercise. Don't wait until your heart rate hits 10 beats higher. What should your resting heart rate be? Normal heart rate beats between 50–100 beats per minute. If you're a conditioned athlete, you may already know that your resting heart rate is much lower than that, and may even be in the 40s. If you're out of shape, your resting heart rate is most likely closer to 72 beats per minute or higher. However, the good news is that as you exercise and get fitter, you'll see improvements in your resting heart rate. What started out as 72 beats per minute starts falling to 68, then 64 and then 60. And that's a sign of you becoming more and more heart healthy. Other signs of overexercising include insomnia, fatigue, moodiness, nagging and muscle aches. How to determine your heart rate? It's a good idea to own a heart rate monitor or at the least a watch with a second timer. If your watch has a second timer, you can easily calculate your heartbeat either at resting or during exercise. To do this, simply take your middle finger of your right hand and run the pad of the fingertip up the middle of your neck. This is the area of your voice box. You'll notice that at the top of this area there is a little fatty mass. If you turn your hand slightly so that your palm points upward and your finger is on that fatty little area, there you will find your pulse. It will be beating strongly. Now look at your watch. When the second hand hits 12, start counting those heartbeats. Stop counting when the second hand hits 3. Now take the number of beats you counted and multiply the number by 4. That is your heart rate. Write down your resting heart rate for about 3 days and average it. Heart rate day 1. Heart rate day 2. Heart rate day 3. Total of all 3. Average beginning resting morning heart rate. Now do your exercises as normal and keep a record of your resting heart rate. If you see your heart rate increasing 5 beats, it's time to start making changes by slowing down your exercise. Chapter 11, Potty Training for Improved Metabolism. You already know that metabolism occurs in every cell of the body. The food you eat is a basic requirement for metabolism to pump out energy in the body and get all your cellular needs met. Thus, the digestive system is a key player in this process. How well is your digestive system working? Unfortunately for the average American, the answer to this question is not very well. In fact, a poorly functioning digestive system has become the norm. Cases of gas, bloating, indigestion, constipation, diarrhea, colitis, diverticulitis, celiac disease, allergies to foods, pain after eating, reflux, burping up what you ate afterwards, etc. If you cannot digest your food properly, how can you expect to get the nutrients out of the food to fuel a kickbutt metabolism? I'll give you a clue, it's not going to happen easily. If your stool contains undigested food particles, then nutrients are escaping without your body capturing them for appropriate usage. That means you are leaking energy. Wonder why you don't have energy and can't get up in the morning? Worse yet, if you occasionally see something crawling in the stool or black flecks in the toilet bowl, this may indicate that somewhere along the route of life, you picked up a critter. Parasites live off the same nutrients that are meant for you, and they will take everything that they can get. Potty training basics needed by most people. The easiest way to address most of these digestive issues is to start with the basics of potty training for adults. Many adults have had to relearn this, including myself. Many have denied its importance only to find down the road that this denial contributed to their present illnesses. In many ways, health starts in the gut. Digestive health may not be mentioned in many other books that discusses how to boost your metabolism. That's because those authors are ignoring simple physiological facts. We are what we eat and digest. If you make the changes suggested in this chapter, you should feel lighter and experience improvements in your digestive health. Or better yet, consult a natural health practitioner who can advise you on remedies for your digestive system. Don't procrastinate on this. Because our digestive system standards are so low in this culture, many people, including doctors, believe that it is okay to not have a bowel movement for 4 days. It's not. Whether you are a vegetarian or meat eater, the longer that food rots in your body, the faster the chemicals and substances in food turn into toxins. These toxins travel to the head and cause a headache, travel to the joints and cause joint aches and pains, and travel to the muscles and cause chronic fatigue. Your goal is to eat a meal and then, within 30 minutes, move out an older meal that has finished the digestion process in the body. What you also want is to experience what it's like to have a clean colon and to be able to achieve optimal absorption of the nutrients from the food you eat. How do you eliminate the old fecal waste? The easiest way to get the process going is to drink 4 ounces of aloe vera juice twice daily. It doesn't matter if you drink the aloe vera juice between meals or with meals. However, it's best to drink it before meals to help re-establish regularity. Drink between 2 to 8 ounces a day and reduce the dosage until you re-establish regularity. Some people, however, drink aloe vera juice every day. Over time, you should see more waste come out than you have seen in a while. But don't worry, there shouldn't be any diarrhea or uncontrollable movements. And it's waste, It's not your organs coming out. Within a week or so you should see some reduction in your weight as a result of the elimination. Believe it or not, some people have 10 to 15 pounds of the old rotten poop sitting in there. That excess waste takes a toll on the body. Once it's gone, your body's vibration is immediately improved. You begin to emanate a golden aura of health. And will people notice? But most of all, your metabolism works better. Slippery elm bark powder makes old waste slip right out. The second easiest way to move out the waste and create a kickbutt metabolism is to add 1 tablespoon slippery elm powder to 1/3 cup applesauce, mix it up in a bowl, and eat it. The slippery elm thickens the applesauce to a consistency of thick oatmeal and has a pleasant taste. You can flavor it with cinnamon if you wish, 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon is good enough. This mixture can be eaten twice daily as it also heals the intestines that have been damaged by leaky gut syndrome. It is also good for intestines troubled by either diarrhea as well as constipation. This mixture is gentle enough to be administered to children, to the very ill, debilitated elderly and even those on medications. Only one warning on the use of slippery elm herb. Just follow the simple rule that you don't take prescription medications along with herbs, ever. Instead, leave at least an hour between the consumption of the two. If your colon is really in poor shape, it is helpful to drink the aloe vera juice first thing in the morning and before bed along and take the slippery elm and applesauce 1 to 2 times during the day. Will this much hurt you? No. But again, if you have had long-standing digestive system ailments, obtaining specific professional advice from a natural health practitioner who is well versed in this area is strongly recommended. When you can stop taking the slippery elm. When waste is successfully moving out of your body on a regular routine, that's when it is time to start backing off the use of the aloe vera juice and /or the slippery elm. Cut the dosage into half for both of them. It's impossible to make a general statement about how long these remedies should be used. Some people may need to take these 2 natural remedies for a week while others may need to take them for months. Colonic hydrotherapy, a last resort or a first-line method. A third method to clean out the waste in the colon is to schedule a series of 3 45-minute colonic hydrotherapy sessions with a well-trained, knowledgeable colon hydrotherapist. This is a method of cleaning out the colon that began back in the early 1900s and is still an excellent method. A colonic hydrotherapy machine is connected to both a water line and drain. Put simply, a gentle flow of purified water flows into the colon via a hose and waste flows out. A colon hydrotherapy session will deflate you like a balloon, but don't expect that one session is going to be a cure-all. It won't. The colon needs constant work on it to get it back in the shape it should be in. According to Dr. Norman Walker, a natural health practitioner well known in the 20th century, one colon hydrotherapy session is equivalent to 30 enemas. But 3 sessions are a good start, especially when they are used along with the aloe vera juice and the slippery elm powder. Chapter 12, Supplements that support fat loss. Regular exercise and restricting your calorie intake are important for fat loss and overall health. But, if you aren't getting the foundational nutrients you need to run your metabolic pathways, you are limiting your own metabolism. If it were at all possible to eat a balanced diet every day, we would probably be able to get all our nutrients from food. I say probably because the nutrient contents of foods are much less than what they were 50 years ago. But even if our foods had the highest nutrient content possible, most of us lead busy lives which prevent us from eating right all the time. So this makes supplementation very important. And in relation to getting leaner, there are safe supplements that you can take to accelerate the rate of your fat loss and to give your body the foundational nutrients it needs. Here are the suggested supplements. Omega-3 fish oil, the king of all supplements. In my other writings, I have said that if you can only take one supplement in life, make it omega-3 fish oil pills. Everyone should be on it regardless of weight. It is truly a supplement that positively affects you from head to toe. Your brain, your eyesight, your heart and your joints all require omega-3 fats for optimal health. Omega-3 fish oil is also very useful for fat loss as it helps to metabolize stomach fat. As a matter of fact, when fish oil is taken in conjunction with exercise, it accelerates fat loss. There are numerous other benefits of omega-3 fish oil that makes it the #1 anti-aging supplement on the planet. But before you buy it, it's important to pay attention to the purity of the product. Most fish oil sold in stores, including cod liver, contains harmful pollutants from the sea. Therefore, make sure you buy only pharmaceutical-grade fish oil which has all the pollutants removed. And make sure you take enough too, between 4 to 6 grams a day. Multiple vitamin/mineral. This supplement is essential as it contains special compounds that act as cofactors or catalysts to help optimize almost every vital function in your body and provides vital anti-aging coverage. You can tell a good multivitamin from a bad one by looking for these 4 clues. Contains all the B vitamins, not just B1, B2, B6 and B12. Cheap companies that don't care about your health will skimp on B vitamins. They are notorious for especially leaving out biotin or putting it in at very low levels, like 33%, when you need 100% of a daily requirement. The B vitamins are intimately tied in with the metabolic cycles. At certain points in the breakdown of carbohydrates, certain B vitamins are required. This happens with the other metabolic pathways as well. 2. A bad multivitamin leaves out phosphorus. 3. A bad multivitamin forgets to put in molybdenum, manganese, lithium, selenium, and iron. 4. A good multivitamin is created with food sources. It's not just a combination of laboratory-synthesized vitamin and mineral forms. This means you need alfalfa and or other foods in it. The foods help absorption. We could spend an entire ebook just on multivitamins. But these pointers will be enough to weed out a lot of the bad supplements on the market. B-complex. All the B vitamins should be included in your multivitamin tablets, but an extra B-complex will do most people some good. The B vitamins are intimately tied in with the metabolic cycles. As previously mentioned, at certain points in the breakdown of carbohydrates, certain B vitamins are required. This happens with the other metabolic pathways as well. Your B vitamin should contain vitamin B1, thiamine, vitamin B2, riboflavin, vitamin B3, niacin, vitamin B6, pyridoxine, folic acid, biotin, pantothenic acid, vitamin B12, choline, inositol. How much it contains is really dependent on your age, health status and level of sugar you have consumed in the past. If you ate a lot of sugar and processed foods, then your needs are higher because these foods lack the B vitamins and draw upon your stores to furnish them. Look for a level of at least 100% of the daily needs for each B vitamin in your supplement. Again, natural food sources should be used in the actual supplement itself. The easiest way to find out exactly what your body needs for its nutrition to be perfect is to obtain additional testing. Customized tests may be found via the internet which provide a health practitioner with an idea about which supplements your body is lacking. The practitioner then sets up a plan of nutrients for you to take for a specified amount of time. This is the easiest way to get your nutritional needs met, at the highest level. CoQ10. In your metabolic pathways, one of the final steps to releasing energy is dependent on coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10. This nutritional supplement can be quite pricey, but it is well worth it. Over 100 different medications such as statin drugs, diabetic drugs and high blood pressure drugs, are culprits in creating a CoQ10 deficiency in the body. Furthermore, as we age, our body levels of CoQ10 diminishes. CoQ10 deficiencies can show up as extreme muscle fatigue, memory loss and personality changes. Food doesn't contain high levels of this nutrient, so a daily supplement of 100 milligrams is pretty essential. Antioxidants. I briefly mentioned earlier the importance of antioxidants. As your body feeds on food, water and oxygen, it burns energy and creates waste. This waste includes free radicals which can damage your cardiovascular system, your sex drive, cause wrinkles and self-fatigue. A good multivitamin will contain antioxidants, but as you push your body to do more exercise, you'll increase the free radicals in your system. This is why it is recommended to also take a potent antioxidant. Such a supplement will, among other things, promote cardiovascular health, make hard workouts easier and improve recovery times. Whey protein. If you are serious about maximizing your fat loss, building lean muscle and supporting muscle recovery after your workout, then you ought to take whey protein. Whey is healing to the intestinal tract, helps boost immunity and supplies the amino acids in the right combination for the body to replenish its protein stores and build new tissue. Whey supplements are commonly used by those who exercise regularly, and they're great supplements for athletes to take. The amino acids found in whey are branched-chain amino acids, the very ones that exercise physiologists have discovered to build muscle the fastest. Make sure you read the label on any whey protein supplement and go for the one that says minimally processed, since protein that is heated to very high temperatures is denatured and of no use to the body. Also look for a minimal amount of sugars added to the list of ingredients of that protein supplement. Avoid whey protein supplements that have corn syrup solids, dextrose, maltodextrose, sugar, maple syrup, dextrin, raisin syrup, rice syrup, and other types of sweeteners. Vanilla or chocolate is fine, though. Bonus chapter, 9 Diet Foods You Should Not Eat and Why. Warning, some diets recommend these foods for weight loss. Don't eat them. They can affect your health and slash or pack on the pounds. With so many diets out there to choose from, you really do need a discerning eye to discriminate them and choose a good one. Choosing a fad diet or a diet not based on a good, strong foundation and scientific principles can set you back 6 months or greater, or worse yet, it can damage your health. This bonus section outlines some of the foods you should stay away from. Pay attention to reasons why eating these foods are not advisable to those you want to lose fat. Use these reasons as a guideline for analyzing other foods you plan on eating. 1. Popcorn. Popcorn can potentially be a good food. Here are the conditions: if you make it at home, if you spend the time to make it with an air popper, if you don't add butter and more than a few shakes of salt, if you only eat 1 to 1/2 cups total. If you really want the pleasure of eating popcorn, can you follow all these guidelines? The problem with microwavable popcorn is that it blows all your hard-earned weight loss efforts for at least 3 days because of the sodium and fat content. The sodium added to microwavable popcorn is far too high for any human to consume. Less than 300 mg sodium per serving is the upper limit if you are health conscious. One bag of microwavable popcorn could contain 1,500 mg sodium or more. The problem is that salt loves to attract water once inside your body and complexes with it. Shifts in the water balance in the body occurs, and then you end up retaining water. Your face looks puffy, your clothes don't fit as well, and some people will have ankle swelling as a result. Over half the population is estimated to be salt sensitive and susceptible to high blood pressure as well. That water that complexes with salt in the popcorn was supposed to be used in the process of breaking down fat in your diet, and now the water is unavailable for weight loss. Not good. No matter what, choosing popcorn is a losing proposition, and it's not weight loss that we're talking about. There's another problem with microwavable popcorn. The chemicals used in the lining of the popcorn bags are linked to thyroid dysfunction, infertility, cancer and other major health issues. And as you know from the list in Chapter 1, a thyroid dysfunction will significantly slow down weight loss. 2. Rice cakes. Rice cakes look innocuous to some unsuspecting dieters, but they can be downright dangerous when consumed on a regular basis. These abominations of the food industry are made of puffed rice. The process of puffing the rice subjects the rice granules to such high heat that chemical changes are created in the food. Chemicals called advanced glycation end products are created during processing, which rapidly accelerate any diabetes complications, arthritis, destruction of your joints, hardening of the arteries, heart disease, and cancer progression in your body. And if you don't have any of these degenerative diseases, then look out, they can be on their way when you eat rice cakes regularly. Rice cakes are also rated high on the glycemic index, which means that they will cause a much greater release of insulin than what your body can handle. This ties in with weight gain, because insulin will cause a shift in the body's metabolism to store fat for at least the next 18 hours. So if you are unhappy with the speed of your weight loss efforts and rice cakes are part of your diet, then it is time to stop eating them. 3. Jasmine rice. Jasmine rice looks appetizing enough when it's served during a meal with plenty of vegetables and chicken cooked in a wok. But the truth is that this white rice isn't so pure and wholesome as some people believe. Rated on the glycemic index with a number greater than 100, jasmine rice causes an insulin burst from the pancreas greater than some of sugar-filled dessert drinks that are loaded with calories and fat. And as you already know, anything that is that high on the glycemic index is full of the potential to cause damage in the body that is long-lasting. Forget the jasmine rice. Go with brown rice or Uncle Ben's converted rice. Both are much lower on the glycemic index and don't release as much insulin. 4. Boxed cereals. The sad news is that our children has been raised on boxed cereals. With glycemic index, GI, ratings greater than 65 for most cereals, we're producing a generation with weak pancreases, a propensity towards diabetes, and an increased risk of heart disease, dementia, cancer, and other degenerative diseases. But it's not just your children you should be concerned about. If you're on a diet that includes boxed cereals on a regular basis, even some brand cereals, some of which have a GI rating of well over 100, then you're headed for lessened health and fat gain. So no to diets that include boxed cereals, period. 5. Farm fish. Whatever an animal or fish eats or is fed, ends up in us if we eat that animal or fish. The industry of fish farming is not currently looking out for your welfare when they feed their fish antibiotics, PCBs, DDT, dioxin, carcinogens, hydrolyzed chicken feathers, soy and chicken litter. Chemicals and pesticides are stored in fat cells and they make weight loss more difficult because the breakdown of fat will release these chemicals and pesticides. That's part of the reason why some dieters get headaches and feel lousy when they are losing weight. Switch to the real, wild-caught fish. Read the labels carefully. Most of the shrimp on the market is now farm fish. Tilapia is, too. 6. Tuna. Tuna may taste great and it's included on many different diets, but stay clear of this fish. Tuna is one of the primary fish in the oceans that accumulates mercury, and there's plenty of mercury in the seas and oceans nowadays. Any potentially toxic element is a hazard to your weight loss when it accumulates in your body. That's because the more that accumulates, the more that the toxic element interferes with functioning of that cell. Mercury will accumulate in fat cells, and when you're on a diet, the fat cells that are being burned up have to give up their toxins. That means they release them to the blood where they circulate through the body. Hopefully your liver is strong enough to handle the toxic metal dumping into the bloodstream. But if not, you'll suffer. 7. Whole grain breads. Bread, it's supposed to be the staff of life. But it isn't when the bread manufacturers pervert it into a food that can do us in and end up contributing to diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, inflammation in the body, dementia and cancer. How do you know what bread is good and which one isn't? Read the labels. Here's an example. 2 slices of a popular whole grain country white bread contains 220 calories, 4 grams fat, 420 milligrams sodium, 42 grams carbs, and 4 grams fiber. What's wrong with that? The sodium is too high, it should be 300 milligrams or less. The carbohydrates are too high, it should be less than 20 grams unless you want that infamous big surge of insulin coursing around your bloodstream damaging all the organs along the way. Most diets would do best if you just left out the bread. 8. Broth. Many diets tell you to use broth, meaning the hydrolyzed protein broth cubes that are generally high in sodium and filled with artificial preservatives. Make your own broth by adding a little extra water to the pots you cook chicken, turkey, beef or pork in. Save the homemade broth by freezing it, it will be free of excess sodium and still quite flavorful. Even if the broth is a sodium-free variety, the methods used in creating the broth cube subject you to the production of advanced glycation end products, AGEs. In the body. You don't want anything to do with these nasty chemical and metabolic byproducts that are far worse than free radicals. 9. Yogurt. Yogurt has been touted so much as a healthy food that almost every diet includes it. However, it's the original form of yogurt, wholesome milk with lactobacillus culture added to it, that is the healthy food, not the concoctions that we find in many grocery stores. If you look at the ingredient label, you will find all sorts of additives that are questionable. Do you really need all that extra sugar? Should the carbohydrate level be more than 12 or 15 grams per serving? No. Yet, you'll find yogurt on the market that contains 35 grams carbohydrates and 25 grams of sugar. This is outrageous and unacceptable. By the way, that brand was popular low-fat frozen yogurt. If you include a product like this, what will you get? Another big burst of insulin from your pancreas, and that means another day of diet disasters. Read the labels. Make sure the yogurt meets your highest expectations. And don't settle for less. From financial pressure. All stress has the same physiological effect on the body. These high levels of adrenal hormones cause shifts in your body. Your memory functions are enhanced. You have a lowered sensitivity to pain. You feel a burst of energy. And your immune system gets a supercharge of energy. These are good changes in certain situations, but only if they are short-lived. The longer that your stress hormone, cortisol, level is high, the more damaging it is to your health and the more fat your body could end up storing. Excess cortisol secretion can suppress thyroid function, increase abdominal fat, raise blood pressure, lower immunity, promote higher blood sugar levels and decrease your bone density and muscle mass. Speaking of muscle, it is a very critical factor in fat burning. Muscle is a metabolically active tissue. In other words, muscle burns calories and it burns more calories than fat does. The last thing you want is a situation where you are losing muscle mass. I'll talk more about the important role of muscle mass in later chapters. Tip: pay attention to your stress levels. Do activities that help to relax and distress you. Chapter 3, Late nights wreck your metabolism. Proper sleep, perhaps the most ignored aspect of fat loss. Inadequate sleep wrecks your metabolism. If you don't get at least 6 hours of sleep, which is equivalent to 4 complete rapid eye movement, REM, cycles, then homeostasis does not rule your nervous system and stress results. This shifts your metabolism pathways to ones that store fat. As you already know, long periods of stress, such as what happens when you are not sleeping well, could interfere with your body's composition by increasing fat and decreasing muscle. And this in turn causes a sluggish metabolism. Sleep deprivation also interferes with hormones such as ghrelin and leptin, which are essential to the control of appetite. Sleep deprivation increases inflammation in the body, which in turn increases the risks of getting a whole host of illnesses. Research has shown that people who are sleep-deprived are at higher cardiac risk and also more likely to get certain forms of cancer. How much sleep should you get? 7-8 hours of deep uninterrupted sleep is ideal. Sleeping more than that regularly is likely to slow down your metabolism. Whoever said sleep is overrated probably died prematurely. Kickbutt Metabolism: The Truth About Permanent Fat Loss. By David Castle. Eat for a ripped body. http://burnedfat.improvemetabolism.com/ This report is not for sale and may not be resold. This is a free report and may be freely distributed or shared, provided none of the information or links are changed. ImproveMetabolism.com. Introduction: Lies, BS and information overload. You are reading this ebook because you are experiencing one or more of the following problems. Interpuncture: gaining weight easily despite dieting or exercising. Interpuncture: weight loss has slowed. Interpuncture: you are ashamed of wearing certain clothes because of unsightly fat. Interpuncture: you want to improve your body composition. Interpuncture: diet has left you feeling starved. Interpuncture: weight is causing a lack of energy. Interpuncture: weight is affecting your cardiovascular health. Frankly, it is not surprising that you and millions of others are experiencing these problems, despite efforts to correct them. Why? Because when it comes to fat loss, you have been sold lies, half-truths and confusion by the media. Here are a few examples. Interpuncture lip balm that contains chromium and claims to shed pounds. Interpuncture nail belt that promises to give you a six-pack. Interpuncture celebrity-endorsed supplements that are worthless for fat loss. Interpuncture conflicting advice about diets. Zoned diets, Atkins, liquid diets. Where do you begin? Interpuncture diets that promises rapid weight loss and a bodybuilder's physique in a few weeks. Are you as tired of the BS, hype and information overload as I am? The weight loss industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry with endless marketers, gurus and big businesses involved. Unfortunately, many of these people have lied or twisted the truth about fat loss to further their bottom lines. The end result is that many dieters fail to lose any meaningful weight. And many of those who actually lose weight end up regaining it and then some. In this ebook, I give you the honest, straightforward truth about achieving a kickbutt metabolism, a major component in achieving sustained fat loss, more lean muscle mass and greater energy. Chapter 1: What Metabolism Is. Your metabolism is a complex network of hormones and enzymes that converts food, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, into fuel and determines how effectively that fuel is burned. 3 calories daily to maintain her weight. Here is why knowing your BMR is important. In order to burn fat, you must consume less calories than your BMR. But the source of your calories will affect your metabolism to your advantage or to your demise. You can find out your BMR by running down to the local gym and having a personal fitness trainer calculate it with a handheld bioimpedance device. Or perhaps you could have your doctor tell you your LBM. You could then use that figure to calculate your BMR. My BMR is _date_. Tip: in case you do your own research, you'll find that there are various formulas for calculating BMR, each with its own pros and cons. There will be some variances in the figures, but don't be overly concerned with this. The key is to use your BMR as a logical starting point and then adjust your calorie intake each week based on how your body is responding to your diet and exercise plan. No need to calculate your BMR weekly. Later on down the road, when you have made significant progress in your fat loss or want to maintain your weight or seek to build muscle, you may recalculate your BMR. Chapter 5: Sabotaging Your Fat Loss Efforts. Let us expand on the idea of consuming less calories than your BMR. At one time, many dietitians were telling people that just by decreasing their calorie needs by 500 calories a day, 3,500 weekly, they could lose a pound a week. The premise of this diet was that a calorie is a calorie. It didn't matter where calories were cut, the important thing was that calories were cut. This kind of diet worked briefly, but it turned out not to be effective in the long run. Just as ineffective for fat loss was some people's embrace of vegetarianism in an effort to restrict their consumption of calories. They may have lost weight in the early stages of their diets but eventually regained it. Not surprisingly, many of them eventually gave up their vegetarian lifestyles. Why did these people fail? The reasons will be discussed in greater detail in chapters 6 and 7. Suffice it to say, calorie restriction is fundamental to fat loss. But when diets are based on severe calorie restriction or on the premise that all calories are equal, then there is a problem. Also know that adequate protein intake is a vital part in achieving a kickbutt metabolism and permanent fat loss. Cutting too much protein from your diet will sabotage. If you have a problem falling asleep, you can take a safe non-addictive sleep aid or consult your physician. However, be very wary of some of the sleep aids that are pushed by big pharmaceutical companies. These can cause some harmful side effects. Tip: drinking alcoholic beverages may make you sleepy at first, but overall it disrupts REM sleep. It is better to have a warm shower and drink a cup of hot milk to help you get your ZZZZZZZZZZZS. Chapter 4, The Golden Formula for Fat Loss. Before you start any diet you need to know your baseline, that is, how many calories your body needs to maintain your current weight. From this reference point, you can know how many calories you need to cut and how many you need to burn from exercise. Your basal metabolic rate, also known as BMR or sometimes used interchangeably with the term rest metabolic rate RMR, is that baseline. Your BMR refers to the amount of calories that is needed when your body is at rest, in order to breathe, circulate blood, keep your muscles toned, keep the intestines moving, maintain your glandular activity and keep your body temperature where it should be, etc. Now here is a surprising fact. The more you weigh, the faster your metabolism is likely running. A large sumo wrestler that weighs 350 pounds has a higher BMR than a woman weighing 130 pounds. This is because his body has to work harder to carry around that extra weight. The formula to calculate BMR, both men and women, is 370 plus 21.6x lean body mass, LBM, in kg. So let us calculate the BMR for a 350 pounds sumo wrestler with 60% LBM. 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. Weight equals 350 pounds. LBM equals 0.6 times 350/2.2 equals 95.45 kilograms. BMR equals 370 plus 21.6 times 95.45 equals 2431.72 calories. So for the sumo guy to maintain his weight, he must consume 2431.72 calories daily. On the other hand, a 130 pounds woman with 70% LBM will need to consume 1260. And it is what happens when the nutrients released from the breakdown of foods get into the cells. That's when true nourishment of the body occurs, and it happens on a cellular level. Your metabolism does other things too, but what you need to know now is that ultimately, your metabolism determines how quickly you gain or lose weight. Now, looking at this definition, you might think that you have no control of your metabolism since it runs automatically 24/7. The good news is that barring certain situations such as having a poorly functioning thyroid or taking certain medications, factors that can adversely affect your metabolism, you can indeed crank up your metabolism. Factors that affect metabolism. 1. The thyroid gland, producing thyroid hormones. 2. The adrenal gland, producing adrenal hormones. 3. Digestive system health. 4. Use of caffeine. 5. Use of alcohol. 6. Use of drugs, prescription and non-prescription. 7. Amount of sleep. 8. Immune system status and presence of an infection. 9. Attitude 10. Toxic load of the body 11. The water content of the body 12. The oxygen content of the body 13. The muscle mass content in the body 14. The fat content of the body 15. Your body frame size, small, medium, or large 16. Your height and weight 17. The hormone insulin and glucagon 18. Growth hormone levels 19. Exercise and activity levels 20. Food that you eat 21. Vitamin and mineral status 22. Number of times food is eaten during the day 23. Crash dieting. For the purposes of this ebook, I'll focus on the 4 major problem areas that are most likely to affect people's metabolism: stress, sleep, diet and exercise. Chapter 2, Stress Can Give You Fat Belly? Your metabolism functions best when your body is in homeostasis, internal stability. But during times of stress and survival situations, your metabolism shifts to a different setting. The changes in metabolism during stress are essential to your survival. However, if these changes are maintained for a prolonged period of time, your metabolism can be negatively affected. In times when you are stressed, adrenal gland hormones are produced in high amounts. The stress could be anything: stress from a family situation, stress in rush hour traffic, or stress